Every voiceover gig is a limited engagement. How's it going? I'm Bill Deweese, professional voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. Getting there. It's the aftermath of COVID. I'm a couple weeks after it. It's weird. I was like in bed for 3 days. I just didn't want to get out. And then after that, I felt better. And then I just plateaued for like a week and a half. It just hung around, hung around. Last night, for the first time, I started to feel my head open up just a little bit. So we're making progress. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're healthy. Thank you for being here for this daily get together. We do this at this time every weekday. It's our voiceover huddle. It's time to get together, share a thought, something to inspire or to help, to instruct, to inform, to help you be as profitable as possible in your voiceover career, in your voiceover journey, in your voiceover business. And today we're talking about, it's not the most exciting topic, but it's something you've got to be thinking about and be aware of. And hopefully it'll help put your head in the right place. Otherwise, it can really throw you for a loop. Every voiceover job, every voiceover gig is a limited engagement. Now, you've heard me talk on a number of occasions about the importance of cultivating clients so that they use you not just once, but on a long term basis. And that's important because the lifetime value of a client is far greater than that first job that they hire you for. If indeed you can prove your worth, your value, and they have the need and they want to continue to use you. I have a client or two or three I've had, from the very beginning for like 17 years. So that limited engagement can be a very, very long one. But what I'm talking about specifically are brand related engagements where you're hired by a company to represent a brand. There's a little bit of a different. Let's talk about the culture of voiceover is very transactional. Typically, we're not hired and fired. We're hired, and then we're either hired again or we're not. You know what I mean? It's rarely like somebody says, we don't need you anymore. They just don't. You just never hear back from them, and you never know what the reason is. And if you come from an employment type of background where you work jobs for people, which most of us do or have, then it's easy to take that personally and think, well, what did I do, to screw that up? When oftentimes, maybe even most times, it has nothing to do with you at all. I think my broadcasting friends, my radio and my TV friends will understand this analogy, and hopefully this makes sense to everyone. I've done image work for a lot of radio stations, or some TV, a lot of radio over the years. And for those of you who've worked in broadcasting, what happens when a new program director is hired? It's rebranding. It's time for a brand, either a rebrand or a refresh. Oftentimes it's a brand new format. Sometimes it's just a refresh of the same format. But what does that program director do? One of the first things they do is they hire a new voice, a new image voice. Not because they didn't like the old one, but because the old one is associated with the older format or the older imaging, the older branding. And they want something that's new, that's fresh, that they can identify with this new brand. Same thing in voiceover. And so I want to encourage you. I'm not trying to discourage you from being excited when you're hired by like a major brand because it's a big deal and it can often be very lucrative. But just know that at some point, it might be soon. It might be years in the future, but at some point, that engagement will end. And chances are they'll never even tell you it's ended. It'll just be one day you wake up and you'll think, huh, it's been a long time since I've heard from these folks. And you'll go on YouTube to find one of their latest commercials, only to find that now they're using somebody else to do it. That's just that has happened to me time and time again. Give you a few examples. If you're familiar with those of you in Michigan, the Henry Ford healthcare system, probably the biggest healthcare system in Michigan. I was there. I was the voice, all TV and radio for Henry Ford healthcare system for years. I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years, maybe longer. I don't remember exactly how long. And every so often, they'd say, "Hey, time for, can we book you for a session, Bill?" And they would have updated scripts for their new campaigns and such. And it was a lucrative gig. I made a lot of money over that time, and I really enjoyed it. They were great people. They seemed to really like me and enjoy working with me. I enjoyed working with them. I always looked forward to those sessions. They were always a lot of fun. And, a lot of these people, they feel like they're your friends, and they are, but understand that at some point, there's a new marketing, firm that engages with this company, or a new marketing manager, or somebody, whether it's on the client side or the marketing side, decides that it's time for an update or a refresh, and one of the first things that happens is the old voice is gone, and I remember one day just thinking, "Hmm, I haven't heard from the Henry Ford Healthcare folks for months, and now it's been years. It's because I'm done. I'm done. The engagement is over. They've got somebody else, and that's cool. I mean, that's the way business works. It's not because I offended them or I did something wrong or stupid. It's just that otherwise they would not have used me for like 7 years. But, it was time for a refresh. Um, there was a little more recently, I was a voice for Casino Queen, St. Louis, which was a really nice gig. It was pretty much weekly. I was doing radio and TV ads, continuously. When I say continuously, I mean, like, on a weekly basis. There was always a new session and I would connect via Source Connect with St. Louis, a studio there. We would do commercials and developed a relationship with that marketing manager and the engineer of that studio. Really loved working with them. They seemed to really enjoy working with me. I don't know how many hundreds of commercials I created for those guys, and it was a very nice revenue stream for several years. And then, in this case, the engineer did me the courtesy of contacting me to let me know that there was a new marketing firm involved, and there was gonna be a complete brand refresh, new voice, the whole thing, which is very nice. That was the exception, not the rule. Usually, you don't hear anything. But, we'd gotten to know each other pretty well. We'd, talk about our families and this, that, and the other, and I just think he felt like he wanted to let me know, which was, again, very kind, not expected, never expect that kinda thing. Disney. A number of years back, I was the voice for the Disney Vacation Club, and, for a number of years, if you went to the Disney website, you went to Disney Vacation Club, I was the voice for all of their marketing materials. It was a nice gig, great people to work with, I really enjoyed it, and then one day, I stopped hearing from them. Why? Because they hired another voice to do that. It was a brand update, a brand refresh. Just know going in, especially when you're working with bigger brands, that it is a limited engagement. Nobody will say that to you, typically, at least that's not been my experience, because they don't know. They don't know. It might go a year, it might go less than that. It could go a year, it could go 10 years, it could go longer, but don't expect it to last forever because typically the brand related gigs don't. They just don't. And you cannot put all of your eggs in that basket. That's one of the reasons it's so important to market, to continually be marketing because that gig that's supplying, I've mentioned before, I've got a friend, he's one of the voices for, Ashley Furniture. And man, it's a really, really good paying gig. I mean, it's a full-time that one gig is like a full-time income. But he knows, I know, anybody who's done this long enough to know that that's not gonna last forever. It's been there for years, and it may be there more for years to come, but never get comfortable to the point you think, "Well, okay, I can settle into this. I don't need to cultivate new clients," because you do. You do. And when something like this happens, you can't get, I mean, you can get agitated and upset, doesn't do you any good. You just have to understand the nature and the culture of the business. That's the way it works. It has nothing to do with you or your talent or your ability. But always be marketing to cultivate those newer clients, and you wanna make those engagements last as long as you can, but when it's time for a brand update and that new program director or marketing manager has been hired, it's just the way it is. You're gone, and the next person's in. Uh, but the great thing one of the awesome things, though, is there are a lot of clients out there that are not really brand specific, that if you treat them well, they will use you for years and years and years and years, and that can become the bread and butter of your business. At least that's certainly been my experience. So again, just understand a lot of this work is limited engagement, make it last as long as you can, but when it's done, Don't fret. Don't call them up. What happened? What I do? It's just they're done. It's you don't bring it up. You don't call them. You don't ask them what the deal is. If they want you, they'll. Don't call us. We'll call you. That's the nature and the culture of this business. It's very transactional, but don't take it personally. Otherwise, it'll get into your head. All right, let's see who we've got on this morning. If you haven't yet, take a second to put your name and where you're watching or listening from this morning in the live chat. Also, I would be remiss if I did not let you know that below in the description, there are links to my training resources. I am a voiceover coach. I help people build voiceover careers through a comprehensive coaching, teaching, ongoing mentoring program called the Voiceover Blueprint. A number of you guys are in that, and I love it. And I love the fact that you join me here in the morning. A lot of you guys aren't. Check it out. Just all I ask is that you go, click the link, get all the details, know what's up. Sorry, excuse me, I didn't hit the mute button fast enough there. We've got David on this morning. David Parker was first on the live stream this morning. David, congrats. Phil in Tokyo. Corey in Wisconsin. Hey, Rob in Loveland. How you doing? David in Gardner, Kansas. Great session. Now, David, in the Blueprint was able to watch it. One of the things I do in the Blueprint is I allow my students watch me as I work. So when he says great session yesterday, I'm pretty sure that's what you're referring to, David. Thank you. I know there were a few sessions yesterday to stream. There's one thing to be told how to do it. It's another thing to, can you imagine being invited into the studio and just say, let's hang out, watch me as I work. Let me show you what I do. This is how I do it from beginning to end. Pretty cool. Aaron, hello to you in Columbia, Missouri. Mike in Matawan, New Jersey. We've got Kim in Tucson. Sirius in Charlotte. Adam in Western Massachusetts. Dale in Atlanta. Dewan, good morning to you in New York City. Jackson in Utah. John in New York. Wayne in Washington, as in Port Orchard, Washington. Ralph in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Matt in central New Jersey. Rusty in the frigid Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We've got Peter D. Jones from the UK. Hello, how you doing, Peter? John in chilly Memphis. Scotty, hello. Bill in snowy Boise. Melissa, San Diego. Billy the Kid. That was my air name at a country radio station years ago. I mean, we're talking many, many years ago. Billy the Kid. Finishing up my first audiobook today. Hey, way to go, Billy. Congrats to you. That's awesome. Good stuff. Oh, thanks for the kind comment about my book, too. Hey, Ty in Warsaw, Indiana. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning, Anthony in Phoenix. It's 70s the high there today? Wow, we have to brag in the winter because summers are beyond brutal. That's the truth. Yeah, I'll never forget the few times I've been to Phoenix. Thought I was going to die. And I love hot. I love hot. But, 118 without humidity, it's still hot. It's still an oven to me. Amanda, good morning. John, hope you are getting better from COVID. Thank you. Which my daughter and I call the goop. Boy, it is the goop. Thank you, John. I am doing better. Mark, good morning to you in Wilmington, North Carolina. Hot coffee on a chilly morning. Kathleen in Evanston, Wyoming. Let's see here. Good morning from Emma in Huntington Beach. Julia, by the way, I went to Huntington Beach once, had a really nice time. My wife and I spent a nice week there once. Julie, PD is absolutely the best analogy. Yeah, it's the best I could think of, and I think it does. It fits the bill. Let's see here. Craig, good morning to you in Maui. Oh, yeah, the Maui. We hate you, Craig. We don't want to hear about I'm kidding. I'm happy for you. I wish we could join you. I'm just jealous is what it is. I'm just jealous, but it's raining heavily. Okay, well, all right. Robert, good morning to you in Atlanta. VO Business is officially launched. Haven't got my first job yet, but I'm live. Robert, that's a big deal. Got to go live. You can't get work until you go live. And remember that, guys. You can think about it. You can contemplate it. You can do all kinds of little activities to get ready for it. But until you're live, until you're doing it, it's not happening. Mandy says, I have a friend who has been the voice of the lottery mascot in Massachusetts for 10 plus years. Yeah. And if you get a gig for 10 plus years, consider yourself extremely fortunate. That's fantastic. Like the deal, the big deal I did with Chevrolet, that was a contract. I rarely ever work under contracts. But it was because it was a one session. It was 4 words. It wasn't even a session. They used my audition, Chevrolet Find New Roads. So I didn't have to, they didn't hire me back. It was just basically, it was a 1-year contract for them to use my voice for that. But typically in these brand kind of things, that's usually it's not like for a year's use necessarily. It's for limited use, and then they come back every 13 weeks or whatever, to rehire you. Terry says, "Good morning, Bill, from snowy, frigid Falston, Maryland. Change is part of our voiceover journey. Embrace it." Yes, indeed. Megan, good morning to you in frigid Manitoba. I've had so many good clients come and go. Got to keep on marketing to keep the flow going. Yes, indeed. Doug in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mark in Estes Park, Colorado. Keith in Renton, Washington. Gregory, how are you doing in the Dallas area? It's going to be 40 today. It did my heart good just to look ahead at the forecast, because I thought, let's just see what the weatherman's saying. And I can see, at least here in the Chicagoland area, we've hit the worst of it. From here, like by next week, I think we're up in the 30s. And then from there, we just begin to creep up as we get closer to spring, which is good. Bradford and Simpsonville. Bradford, where'd you go? There you go. Simpsonville, South Carolina. Kim, nice that they reached out to you. I think that's a professional way to terminate the long-term relationship. You have a positive outlook for sure. Well, I mean, it is, but it's not I think the thing to understand is it's not unprofessional for them not to as well, only because that's the culture. It's the established way of doing things. And you can't take it personally. If you're a person who takes everything personally, it will get into your head, and you just can't allow that. Let's see here. Miss Johnny, good day to you in Houston. Amy in Altoona, Pennsylvania. You have a great day as well. Jacksonville, North Carolina, checking in, just starting to look into this. Fantastic. We came to the right place. This is a channel with nearly 1,300 videos. Really all voiceover stuff, all, free to watch. Enjoy. We've got Earl Scott from Indianapolis. Dewan says, fantastic advice today. I appreciate your knowledge and the shares. You're very welcome, Dewan. Susan, good morning to you in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Finally back into positive temps. That's a good feeling, right? Kevin in Hillsboro. It's Aaron in Umatilla, Florida. Sorry. Good morning, Dallas, Fort Worth, Sandra. Hey, BT in frosty Twin Cities. Wally in frozen Maryland. It's Jared in Wisconsin, only -10. Hey, with the wind chill this morning, trending in the right direction, right? Not -25. Exactly. Rob, even after 3 years, it's beneficial for me to watch you work. Well, Rob, thank you very much. Another one of our blueprinters. I appreciate that, Rob. Adam says, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Love these daily insights. Learning a lot. By the way, did about 12 auditions on ACX. Got a gig during the holidays. Finished it really early. Now working toward the next one. Fantastic, Adam. Congrats. And that's the right mindset to have. Thanks for being here, guys. Don't forget to check those training resources, the links below in the description. And check them out. Learn what Okay, Siri. We don't need to know. Thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll talk to you guys soon.